All right, folks, I don't want to get stuck on the Obama kids, but the reason I am is because let's start with the organizers of the March for Our Lives rally on what comes next. Let's play that video. All right. And we'll talk about the Obama kids a little more. Play that. You got
how we created our amazing new website with Wix.
Now we know that having a great website.
We want to take a closer look at the Never Again movement. It began hours after the February 14th shooting in Parkland, Florida.
We are not here for breadcrumbs. We are here for real change. We are here to lead.
They might preach NRA, they might preach GUN, but we're preaching REV. Register, educate, vote.
But it was Emma Gonzalez's 6-minute and 20-second presentation, the exact time of the gunman's rampage, that brought the crowd to silence as she stood still, tears streaming down her face, honoring those who were lost.
Since the time that I came out here, it has been 6 minutes and 20 seconds. The shooter has ceased shooting and will soon abandon his rifle, blend in with the students as they escape, and walk free for an hour before arrest. Fight for your lives before it's someone else's job.
Today, we welcome 5 of those student activists: Jacqueline Corin, Ryan Deitch, Delaney Tarr, plus Cameron Kasky and Emma Gonzalez. Emma, what was it like watching yourself on tape there?
That was kind of weird. I mean, in the moment, it felt so good to finally say it, because of course it's really stressful the whole day. You're waiting and waiting and waiting, and I was the last one, so it had just been building up, and it felt so good to finally say it.
Cameron, what is the overarching policy goal here? I mean, what are you asking for here in Washington?
Well, here in Washington, we are demanding an assault weapons ban. We are demanding the prohibition of sales of high-capacity magazines, and we are demanding universal background checks, which is something you'll see from the polls. Pretty much the entire country is behind, and yet we've seen nothing of it.
Well, you did have a statement from the White House yesterday where the president said he appreciated you all celebrating your First Amendment right, and pointed that his administration banned bump stocks. They enacted the Stop School Violence Act, which authorized grants to increase school safety, and some actions to improve background check records. Do all of you consider that progress?
You know, the Stop School Violence Act doesn't even mention the word gun once. Obviously, school safety is important, but it doesn't just happen in schools, and people need to understand that. It's a public safety issue, not a school safety issue. So we need to fight the problem from the core, which is guns.
You'll notice in all these shootings, not just the ones in schools, in movie theaters, airports, churches, nightclubs, there's no specific mental health issue that you can tie to every single one. The only thing you could tie to every single one is weapons that belong in the hands of soldiers, in the hands of citizens who are untrained.
Do you think that the more than 200,000 people who came out yesterday agree with all of the points that you have been asking for here?
Well,
Delaney,
we got some news.
I mean, I do believe that even if there's some difference in opinion on some small issues, ultimately the fact is that all of these people coming to the largest march on Washington, because it is the largest march on Washington, they were there because they support the cause. They support safety, they support our lives and protecting our lives, and that's what matters. Even if there is some small issue that they don't necessarily stand with us on, they stand with us. And that's what matters.
Well, I mean, I can say from firsthand, as I said the line, "We need to arm our teachers," I heard booing from the crowd. I heard they were clearly not behind a message like that, and when I turned it around to say that they need to be armed with pens, pencils, paper, and the money they need to support themselves, you could see the crowd regain support, so there were...
You confused people a little bit on that.
I did confuse a lot of people, but the crowd was very like-minded because they all were on the same page that they just didn't want to see all these innocent children die. Now,
you all are not just rallying here in Washington, you've also been pushing in your home state of Florida. But Florida did just decide that they're going to allow training of some teachers to be armed. Some districts can opt out. Do you feel like you lost the argument back at home?
Not at all. As a matter of fact, in Florida, they passed a bill that raised the age to 21, added a 3-day waiting period. These are very small steps in the right direction. But I think you'll notice if all teachers are required to be armed, or at least several teachers per building, many teachers will quit. We have every single teacher from my school that I've spoken to said that if there was an armed teacher in their building, trained or not, they would be out of there. Arming teachers only puts kids more in danger, and it puts the teachers in more danger.
Were you surprised to see action in your home state before you saw it in Washington?
Yes,
yeah, very much so, because Rick Scott is funded by the NRA.
Your governor?
And yes, our governor, and he defied it in a sense, and sued the state of Florida. So that's obviously a step in the right direction. He's running for senator, so that might have been a reason why he did it, to get the popular vote, but it's still a step.
You're cynical. You're political gaming here, huh?
I mean,
you're student class president, is that right?
Yeah.
When you're looking at this kind of political activism right now, are you inspired that you want to actually become politically involved after
100%.
you graduate?
100%, yeah.
You want to run for office yourself someday?
Maybe so. I mean, I wasn't really politically involved before this, but I've learned so much in a matter of a month and a half that it's intrigued me, poli-sci, yeah.
We're going to take a break in a few seconds, so we don't have much time here, and then we'll come back and finish the conversation. But quickly, can you raise your hand if you're going to be voting in November? Are you eligible to vote?
My birthday's in October, so I hit the mark.
I'm not a Russian computer, so I can't vote in the next election, but for the one vote I can't cast, we'll have thousands for us.
And do you have congressional candidates who have signed on to your agenda?
We're not endorsing any political figures.
Are they endorsing your platform?
We endorse ideas, not people.
If they choose to support us, then we absolutely, we love that. We want support, but we're not endorsing any particular candidates.
We have to take a real quick short break, but I want all of you to stay with us and all of you at home as well. We'll be right back as well. We'll be right back as well.
Wonder where they're getting the "I'm not a Russian computer, so I can't vote." Wonder where they get that from. Okay. Wonder where the media is to correct. I wonder where the media is to help correct. You know, like the young lady with the cool little glasses on that's not there for crumbs when she says it's the largest march on Washington because it's the largest march ever. Where's the media to help make those corrections when needed? I mean, when they're making these claims, okay? Teachers will quit. We talk to the teachers, they'll quit and walk out if we arm the teachers. It puts us and the teachers more at risk. And you will pick up. Now, David Hogg is not in this group, and he has a nice profanity-laced video that's going around the internet. But David, that you did pick up that Rick Scott is running for senator, and they think that's why he did what he did in Florida. Folks, you need to be clear on something. After the reason I wanted you to watch those kids for so long, I watched that yesterday and I said, you know, Lisa wrote this last night and sent it to me, and it's just very simple but true. We're not educating our kids, we are training them. We're not. You are spending, we can get down this road and we can go very deep. We're not educating our children, folks. We are training them, brainwashing and training them. If you can't sit here and look at these kids, where they're getting their money, where they're getting what they need, the buses. Did I see something that said the New England Patriots sent their bus to transfer these kids up to the march? The NFL? It's like the USA, Lisa wrote, it's like the USA is on trial and the mainstream media is the liberal defense team. They're the liberal defense team. It's like, I like that. It's like the U.S. is on trial and the mainstream media is the liberal defense team. I've called them Obama kids. It doesn't matter if we break down, we know, you and I know, it doesn't matter if we break down the speeches this weekend. We know they want rid of the guns, they want to take the guns. Look, let me tell you something, okay? Let's make this clear, because I continue to hear this in the Second Amendment, all right? I continue to hear this in the Second Amendment. Now, when the Constitution was written, where's my glasses here? Let me get into. A well-regulated militia, comma, being necessary to the security of a free state, comma, okay, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. You see, this is a passive statement, meaning when this was written, they were not deciding, okay, to give you this right, our founding fathers. They were saying this has always been your right. This should always be your right, has been, should be, and shall continue to be your right. But a well-regulated militia being necessary to secure to the security of a free state, the right of people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. They keep telling you that you don't need this weapon. You have your right. They say, well, you don't need tanks. You know, there's the people that claim the Second Amendment, and they want weapons like the military, and they think they're going to rise up. If the government comes after them, they're going to be able to rise up and defend themselves. Well, that ship has sailed. That is very true. But you got to understand, when the Constitution is written, you remember, back in the old days, you know, when you showed up to go to war, you know, you brought your own gun. I mean, there was a time when the Constitution was written that they had really no more firepower than you did. I mean, I get so angry with education, but to defend ourselves, the right to create a militia. Do you have the right to have a tank? I don't know. If it fires a gun, I don't know. Do you have the right to any other military equipment? I don't know. But you got to understand, the argument that's made by the liberals on the right to bear arms based on defending ourselves from the government, at this time you had weapon for weapon. If the government came after you at this time or tried to take your rights away at this time during the Constitution, you know, they came after you and you had a pretty good militia together, you would be trading fire from a rifle against the government. So where do your rights stop as far as what weapons you legally should be able to have to defend yourself against a government runaway? I know that sounds crazy to you, but you know, I get so tired of them trying to turn in the Second Amendment to protecting your family from somebody that's going to rob your house, okay? Or trying to shoot a deer to put meat in the freezer. I get tired of that, okay? Now, they do not, I don't want to get so deep into this because this is done every day on so many shows, but the majority of the gun violence that results in somebody being killed is handguns. It's handguns, folks. Every day, illegal handguns in the inner cities. I do not have to tell you that the biggest cities in the United States that have the top murder rates in the United States have the toughest gun laws in the United States. Now there was no mention this weekend on the stage. There was no thanking, okay, on the Jumbotron. You did not see St. Mary's County Sheriff Timothy Cameron put his picture up. You didn't see his picture on the Jumbotron. St. Mary's County, Maryland Sheriff Timothy Cameron. You didn't see his picture on the Jumbotron this weekend as a hero. Okay? Didn't see it. You did not see on the Jumbotron this weekend Blaine Gaskell. You didn't see his picture on the Jumbotron. He is the SRO, all right, that went in that was in the school in Maryland there, that killed the shooter that had a handgun that was not 21. There's no talk of that whatsoever. They keep leading you to believe that the government can help fix things, okay? He was not on the Jumbotron. Now, this young man, Kyle Kavish, right? I think that's how you say his name. I had it up here earlier. Put up Kyle's picture. I think it's Kavish. Let me see here.
Keshav.
Keshav.
Do
right?
we have the correct pronunciation of
no,
the correct pronunciation? Do we have the correct?
Let's see.
Keshav.
Keshav. Okay. Anyhow, this young man here, he wasn't invited. He's wanting to debate them. Do we have the video of him for Face the Nation? Did I send you that video of him? Okay. He calls them the cowards of Broward County. He wants to debate these. Who's the kid that created this March for Our Lives? What's his name? Caskey. He wants to debate him. All right, because he's actually went on Face the Nation. He said, we have failed FBI. We have failed this kid. This kid was there. He was in the school. He's a survivor. And he wants to make sure it never happens again. He agrees with the kids that it should never happen again. But he wasn't invited to speak because he wants to highlight the FBI failure, all the red flags, the school's failure, every failure, the government, the system totally failed. And this kid wants to say, but yet we think the government should be the ones to solve the problem by talking about gun control. The entire system failed. It was never brought up this weekend. All right? Folks, we could talk about this all day, but the reality is Obama ponders creating 1 million young Barack Obamas, okay? Former President Obama said on Sunday, all right, that he would like to create 1 million young, take him off there, put the kids back up, 1 million young Barack Obamas to run the next stage in the relay race that is human progress, the Washington Examiner reported. Obama reportedly made the comments at a conference in Japan while discussing the Obama Foundation's work to help young people around the world get connected using the internet. If I could do that effectively, then I would create 100 or 1,000 or 1 million young Barack Obamas and Michelle Obamas, our next group of people who could take the baton in the rally race that is the human progress. Folks, you are not educating the children. Don't get me wrong. I got teachers out there probably so angry. You are not paying millions and millions of tax dollars to educate our children today. We are training them, period. There's no way that you're going to sit here and tell me that we are doing a good job when our children are marching to lose their rights. Oh, by the way, David, for your concern that clear backpacks are a violation of your constitutional rights, that's what I think David Hogg said, clear backpacks is a violation of your constitutional rights. Try a college football game on Saturday to take a bag in there, and you've got to go and get a special bag that's clear so they can see through the bag. All right? And I don't think that was created by a school shooting, that security measure. All right? It's just the world we're living in. Teachers will resign. I don't believe it. We're going to take a break. These Obama kids, I've called them Obama kids from day one. We're going to take a break, come back, see if Amanda has anything she wants to talk about. But I do not want to leave without stormy news and also talk about Trump's investigation, the whole Russian thing. Where are we at? Take us to break.